Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're looking at the very weird aircraft that is the Edgley Optica, the EA-7. This is produced by Orbx. You can get it from their website, of course, and I expect eventually on the actual marketplace as well. This cost me about 13 bucks. And it is inexpensive, but it's also a simple aircraft. It's not particularly fast. In fact, I can reference the information here. Crew of 3 you could fit in it. It's more of an observation aircraft, so it's designed to be low speed. It has a 12-meter wingspan. It's 2.5 meters tall. An empty weight of 948 kilos and a max takeoff weight of 1300, so basically you and crew. And it has one Textron Lycoming IO540 air-cooled flat-six engine spinning a 5-bladed fixed-pitch ducted fan. That's what makes this unique. The fan is integral to the actual main body there. Yes, it looks like a jet engine attached to a cockpit. That's a ducted fan, which is largely what a high bypass turbofan is. It's just basically a turboprop ducted fan kind of thing. It's just a generalization. Max speed is about 150 knots. Cruise is about 70. It will stall around 50 with flaps up, and it can do about 570 nautical miles with 8 hours of endurance at loiter speeds. It can service ceiling of about 14,000 feet. So, really simple aeroplane. Let's go take a look, shall we? Also, liveries here. Comes about 7 or 8. Look pretty decent, too. So, we are here at Bella Coola, one of Orbx's airports. I just acquired this one. It's a personal favourite of mine. Now, the aircraft is gorgeously detailed. Let's have a look in that fan there. Can I actually get an angle in to see there? Kinda, nearly. Let's look in from the back, shall we? So yeah, it's just a normal piston engine there, ducted. So this actually helps provide some actual lift as well, the ducted fan body, and boosts the performance of the aircraft. Makes it very quiet, able to loiter at low speeds, clean wings, good clean aerodynamics, and the twin tail there with the upper tail bar, fixed landing gear. We've got flaps, we've got some nice low ability surfaces there. Cockpit, 3 seats. It's like a helicopter cockpit almost of sorts because you've got that simple dashboard setup. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Now, of course, you can open the doors like with most aircraft in the sim these days. I can't reach that door handle, but hey, close enough, right? Yeah, it feels like a helicopter in here. It feels like in a Robinson. So it has that helicopter visibility, which is phenomenal. As we look back, first aid kit there, glass punch into the fan. So, very much like a helicopter. But let's get this thing started up and take her for a spin, shall we? Because that's what you guys want to see, right? So, let's put our batteries on. Let's make sure our fuel is selected. So, our tank is back here. So, we're on left tank. Look at my mixture forwards. Crack the throttle. Now, the brake is actually the brake lever here. That's the lever. You don't have any toe brakes. They're just pedals. And, of course, we've got the fuel valves open. Really simple. Trim. We've got flaps. Let's power it up, shall we? Beacon is on. Where's my fuel boost pumps, actually? Probably what I need. There we go. Doesn't want to start. Okay, what have I done wrong here? There's probably something real simple. As we just check through, these are all lights here. Read the manual. Actually, the manual is pretty simple. So, don't want the alternator on just yet. Oh, hold for engine start. Oh, now it wants to start when I press that button. It has some integrated systems in the aircraft. They're basic, but it does actually have engine systems modeling here, so could be that it wants me to do that rather than use my button on the actual alpha yoke. Everything powered up and ready to rock and roll. So what's our viewpoints? We've got a nice simple over the controls, up towards our weight and balance sensors, and towards other parts of the aircraft. Real simple. So, without further ado, let's take this baby out for a spin, shall we? So visibility is phenomenal for taxiing, as you might expect. Ugh. Hey, camera angles are kind of funky. And I'm taxiing very quickly, or it feels like it because I'm so low down. Although I'm barely doing 20 knots. Gorgeous Bella Coola airfield here from Orbx. In fact, I'm just gonna... we'll take a look at Bella Coola when we get back. But for now, you want to see the aircraft. That's why you're here. So, enter the runway here. Clear that way. It's going to be clear that way as well. I can't see anything. Let's enter the runway. Quite noisy because the engine is literally behind our heads. So, quite a throaty, noisy engine. As I try and reach the toe brake here, which isn't really the aircraft, but I need it to help me turn because the flight sim's rudder. Spin her up here and get going. Feels so weird being so low down here in the cockpit of the aircraft. Nice and easy, and we'll just pull back. And it clears up off the runway. There we go. There's the river beside us. We'll bank over that way. Make sure we are... Oh, I'm rolling a bit too hard there. I don't know what I did there. Get the trim settled in. Flight Sim likes to start with your trim not registering, so you've got to put a lot in when you take off. But the aircraft is not fast. It's not big. It's not clever. It doesn't climb very quickly. But it sure is a fun plane to fly. And look at the visibility you've got here. If you wanted something for touring gorgeous scenery, this is totally it. Like, you could see so much with this. And look at that scenery. Airport just back there off our wing. Gorgeous views down below the river. And the town of Bella Coola is just over there. Now, knock the edge off the fuel there just for optimal running. And overall, really enjoying how this thing flies. As I can feel a cable caught on my rudder pedals, that's going to make this interesting. Haven't got time to fix that now. But really simple, gentle aeroplane. It feels like an ultralight, but obviously you have a full cockpit. This would make it a perfect aircraft for surveillance purposes, for police work. Now, I know some places have used them, or did use them. I know one British agency, I think, used them at one point. But, again, this is not quick, this is not crazy or big, but it does its job. So let's turn around and head back towards the airfield. Now, it does like to actually roll in pretty quickly, so that's probably what I did earlier. I put a little bit too much stick in there to give it the input I wanted, and it wanted to roll more. See, it will actually drop into that wing a lot easier than I expected. It's very, very sensitive to the roll axis. Right, let's just settle this baby out. We'll come back here, we'll just run a pattern, put her down on the runway, so I need to kind of extend outwards a bit more, so I have a decent base. And I'm chasing the trim a little bit because I'm changing power settings. So there we go. Not fast, not big, not clever, and I can feel myself pitching up again. I hadn't touched anything other than a slight roll in the wing, so very, very sensitive feeling, and the axis of the pitch sensitivity, I think, is exacerbated by the big tail with the airflow going straight into it, or just above it actually, so it does mean it's out of the airflow to an extent, which can have an effect. The T-tail arrows have something like this as well, where the tail can feel very rubbery. Looking down there towards Bella Coola and the beautiful river beside it. One of my favourite places to fly in flight sim, this area. Gorgeous, gorgeous scenery. Now, if only they do Bella Bella Island, and I'll be happy. Or Bella Bella, or Campbell Island. I'll be so very happy. Alright, let's drop the power down here. And we'll roll in for our base as we cross this tributary up ahead. There we are. I genuinely feel like I'm in a helicopter to an extent in this aircraft. It's so sensitive, but so slow for loiter purposes. Like, I genuinely feel like I could just fly elliptical patterns and have no issues whatsoever seeing things on the ground. Alright, I need to descend very quickly here because I'm quite high up. Let's give her a notch of flaps. And we can just sink down here. So when I pull off the power, it sinks incredibly quickly, whilst maintaining speed. So, longish runway here. I should sit down about halfway down it. I'm a bit high for a regular pattern, but it's not like it matters. Kind of like to just wing it with these reviews. I like to just see how the plane responds. And speaking of which, let's give it a little bit of something interesting here and slip it down onto the final from base, which should snap the nose around and tell me how the rudder feels. There we go. Keep that thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. That's coming floating on down. I slipped that a little too hard in the wrong direction, so it definitely didn't quite like that, but that's a nice airport. Okay, back at the runway now. Enough screwing around, let's land the plane. As the yoke's hitting my thigh because my chair's too high up today. There we go. Let's let us settle down here, as we will come down to the center line in the end. Enough screwing around with the plane. It's so intimidating when you come down here because you're landing so close to the ground that it feels so weird. Like, obviously that embankment there, the rock, is to help prevent the river from overflowing the airfield, because you do get, you know, glacial flooding, obviously, in this sort of area. So let's get it turned around there. Landing's very placid. It floats quite easily. If you come in a bit fast, it will float for quite a distance, and you don't have a very powerful engine in this thing, so, or the power output of the ducted fan doesn't provide a lot of speed. It makes it a lot quieter, being ducted fan, which makes it great for surveillance purposes, but it doesn't give you as much power as a regular propeller does, because you're not getting that input across the wings. So it's almost in direct thrust rather than assisting in lift to an extent, so it does actually hurt you on climb out. If you have to abort from a landing, this will be very sluggish and less responsive, so that could be something to consider and to be aware of when you're flying it, because with a regular aircraft you'll get some splashback across the wing root and out the actual leading edge of the wing from the prop wash, which will help provide an element of lift just from the prop spinning. So with this, you're not going to get that at all, and it definitely doesn't even give you anything over the rudder, which again, a regular aircraft with a normal tail will give you some airflow over the rudder from the prop, so you'll get authority at a lot lower speeds. This it won't, so that's something to be very, you know, aware of flying it. But it flies exactly like that. From what I've seen with this, it flies like that sort of performance that I'd expect. It flies like it has a ducted fan. The handling, having never flown a real ducted fan aircraft, I will say for clarification, but understanding the theory of how they work and how the engine works in this aircraft and where it's placed, it is meant for quietness. It is meant to be a quiet aircraft to allow it to be quiet for surveillance purposes, so you're trading performance for sound. Because regular GA aircraft are pretty loud, so you do have that to consider. This sounds really loud, but we are basically sat in front of it. But it will be a lot quieter from a distance. Speaking of which, look at that weird little thing. Very weird little nasal sound. Okay, pick a direction, buggy. We're going in. We'll park up in front of this helicopter here. Clearly an Orbx model, because I wish Flight Sim had a Jet Ranger in it already. Okay, let's put our brakes on. And we will shut down the engine there. So let's pull the fuel. Okay. Not going to shut the batteries off, because I hate it when Flight Sim does that to me. So, Bella Airport. Another classic Orbx. Don't need to really explain much about it. Although I do love that. Helicopter when Orbx? Because that looks a hell of a lot better than your previous AI aircraft airports, or, you know, model aircraft airports. Little service area there and packaging area. Perfect for bush flying, because this is the cargo area, cargo terminal. Obviously, you'd come through here. You've got the cargo handling place, a tour bus, parking lot. Little small rural Canadian airport in a really beautiful tourist hotspot, so With a 206 or a 207, I'd be flying in and out here all day, every day. Hell, this could become my new home for my flight simming again. In fact, I think it's going to be. But, is it worth it? For the price, it's really cheap. It's really weird. It's small. If you want to tour scenery really nicely in a plane that's a lot, I'd say, more weather resistant than an ultralight, this isn't a bad plane. It's definitely unique, and it's strange, and it's fun. Not a bad aircraft. And the systems modelling and its actual behaviour is very accurate to what it should be. So, a great one. Plus, you get the easy updating through the Orbx app if you have it through the FTX Central system, like their airports, like this one. So, bonus. Would I buy it again? Yeah, actually. For the price and for the what I get, totally. It's a really fun little plane. So, thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.